Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Welcome, everybody. It is an honor to have you all here on this gorgeous Sunday, July the 10th, and we got episode 60 of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network coming your way. I'm excited, man. 60, I guess you can say, is somewhat of a milestone here, but we're glad to be able to bring you season 3. And today, man, we got a special guest. I'm very excited to have this young man on here, one of the up-and-coming mobiles, or what's the fancy word for it? CEOs, founders, owner. I could go on and on, but I got my man Tyler Butler here, who is the founder and the owner of Sports and Culture Media. Look, Tyler, I am absolutely excited to have you on, brother. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
Yeah, look, it's a pleasure, man. It's good to see people out here doing their thing. Sometimes I would say moving in silence, but just making a lot of noise in the process.
Yeah, hey, that's my number one motto, man. Move in silence. Let the work speak for itself.
Exactly, man. That's why we're so glad to have you. And we got a lot to get into, and we'll get a chance to find out a little bit more about Tyler. But of course, here on One-on-One, we like to start off with my favorite thing, and that is the check-in. All right, Tyler. So I just want to check in on you, my man. See how things have been going for you. Obviously the pandemic has been crazy over the last 2 years, but it looks like things are trying to get better. But I just want to know how you, your family, how everything's going for you lately. How's everything been?
Man, everything is it's been extremely busy, and it honestly it all started like during the pandemic. Cause we cover a lot of schools and stuff like that. So when the pandemic hit, we were shut down. And I had to figure out a different way to maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Everything went virtual. And so I was signing up for everything during that time. And we grew a lot based off of the pandemic. So we haven't really stopped rolling ever since then.
It's funny that you say that, because I feel like that's the same thing that happened to us, because we had a moment where it was like, man, the network, this is like the worst time. Like, yeah. We were gaining momentum from other fronts. We were getting into a lot of events. We were getting an opportunity to grow as a network. And I was like, my first thing I said to myself was, how are we going to grow during this pandemic? But it's funny how people needed sports, and they needed it. And I felt like we were there, like, as a smaller entity. I think a lot of people didn't realize, what we had going on, but I think it brought attention to organizations like ours.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute blessing. We had an opportunity. We were covering Green Bay Packers and Tampa Bay, doing that Tampa Bay first Super Bowl run, all the way up into the Super Bowl. And of course, the Super Bowl was virtual. So we were getting into all type of events as a one-year company that I didn't even think was possible. But I enjoyed every second of it, though.
Right. It's funny because I think it's crazy. It's a crazy how it can work. But I think what goes a long way in that situation is people get a chance to see what you're all about. And it's about how you business. And, I remember we started in 2017, and I remember people telling me, you'll never get into professional teams. You'll never get in. The first team that gave us a shot right off the bat, we'd only been a week strong, and we got into the Washington, at the time, the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, but we got into there, and people was like, how did you get in? It was just like, sometimes it's the way you go about your business. And I mean, it looks like you did a good job of going about your business, my man.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, I ain't never worked so hard in my life during that pandemic, because No, I like I said, I started a company kind of just to build a platform for
Right.
schools that really don't get a platform or no type of media coverage. And so when we weren't allowed to go anywhere, and I figured out that virtual, and I want to say, shout out to Fago Franklin. He was the one who put me on to the virtual stuff.
Right.
And once I figured that out, I was pretty much working from home.
Hmm.
And so while I'd be working from home at the same time, I would be on some type of Zoom meeting for a team or something. And it got so crazy. Like my regular job, I was hanging up on customers to finish the Zoom interview because I wasn't missing out on nothing, man.
Like,
I'm talking about, man. We did the Olympics.
mhm.
It was crazy. It was a crazy year.
Yeah, the access is amazing, and I know that you guys have access to White House.
Yeah, that's a
And,
blessing.
and I think a lot of people, I think the other day I was watching and you posted something. It was like, well, how did you know that? Well, I told y'all I had White House media. Like people, and that's the thing is it's the moving in silence and being able to, people are like, oh, I didn't know that. If you've been paying attention, I'm telling you, I got y'all.
Yeah, I responded back because we've been covering the White House for about a year now,
At
if I'm
least,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
I
You
think
know,
when we first became friends,
yeah,
I remember the post. I said, "Up there it is, White House man." I said, "My man doing things."
yeah, man. When I tell you that was probably the most excitement I had because I'm like, dang, this is the freaking White House. Like, it's me. And I'm getting emails from the government. Like, that doesn't supposed to happen, not this fast. And I remember making a post like, hey guys, I'm on the White House media list. Like, I can go to the White House as media. No response. Like nothing. I was like, damn.
It's like, what are
Okay.
you talking about?
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember it like it was yesterday, and I was like, "That's dope. That's dope that he got
I
into the White
appreciate
House
it.
and able to do good things, man." So, hey, man, keep that grind going. But I want to kind of get on here and talk about your passion for sports. I want to
Mhm.
know where 7-year-old Tyler was at the house, he was chilling, and where that passion for sports came from. Where did your passion for I guess eventually going into this field, but where your passion for sports came from as a whole?
I mean, it started from pretty much the playground. I was uh, as a kid, I felt like I was an elite shooter. Um, I was never like I could jump a little bit, but I was always the fastest kid in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
I could throw, so I played quarterback for like, what they call an all-time QB.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd be playing, yeah. I'm the quarterback for both teams. I was a shooter. I couldn't really dunk or do anything else, but I would always get picked up and play with older kids. Um, so and that's without knowledge of the game. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing. But once Joe Montana football, and I actually has this in my bio, Joe Montana football is the main reason why I started getting into everything. I started playing it, but I didn't understand the game.
Uh-huh.
And so my mom bought me an encyclopedia. Well, I'm using my age right now, but she bought me an
It's all good.
encyclopedia.
I think everybody in our age range had a cycle.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad.
And I remember looking it up and it had a section about the referees and it was breaking down the rules and regulations. And I would just read it every day and take that back to Joe Montana football so I could figure out what I was doing during the game. That led into Madden and it just grew and grew and grew. And I was like, I just want to know more information on like the commentary side.
Right.
Like me and my homeboys, we used to play like NBA Live before it was 2K. We would cut the sound off. I would be the commentator. I knew everybody names, I knew plays and everything. And that's what gradually grew into like a deep passion, video games.
Let's see, man. I'm telling you, I feel like we're connecting on so many levels. I'm listening to you talking. I'm like, man, I feel like I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because like I remember just as a kid, Sports Center was my life. I mean,
Mhm.
I would watch Sports Center religiously, and I had it. I went when I got up in the morning, it was on. When I got off, it was when I went to bed, it was on. So I always had it in my life. And then I think one day it's like I wanted to be a commentator. I caught myself like playing the game, and I'm like, oh, what you call go back to pass? And all of a sudden I was like, man, I love telling the story of the game,
Yeah.
and it became my passion. I got in high school and I told my my journalism teacher. I was like, what can I do to go and get in there and kind of like I want to announce some of the football games. How can I do that? Because they didn't have nobody announcing JV football games. 23 years later, still announcing the games. For now, I'm doing varsity and JV, but at the time I started off with JV 23 years ago, and you get the itch, and it's like boom, And so I feel you, man. I know how that feels, man. I'm telling you, right there. I love it.
I'm telling you, man. That's all we would do. NBA 2K, or if it's Madden, and I got so good at it. Like everywhere where I went to, we was doing Madden tournaments back then too. Literally, cut the sound off. I'm the only commentator doing the whole game, the entire game, through the whole tournament. It was such, man. It was so much fun though. Like now, I don't even have time to play games, unfortunately, but
because you're always on the move, right?
I'm always on the move, man. That was my thing. Like Madden and 2K, I would just sit there and play it all day. And now I don't have a second to even press power, unfortunately.
It's rough, man. I got my PlayStation 5 and I be looking at it, I'm like, I want to play.
Man, I want to buy one, but it'll be a total waste of money. I wouldn't even get to open the box.
Oh man, that's not good. That's not good. But look, hey man, with that being said, I kind of want to talk about your sports journey, like your sports journalism journey. What made you say, you know what, I'm ready to take all that knowledge, all those times doing the commentary, man, and turn it into that journalism career? What gave you the itch to make that leap back in 2019?
All right, so I guess I got to give the backstory of how it all originated. So those who know me, and I'm not afraid to speak on it, I suffer with severe depression, where there was a moment in my life where I was going to commit suicide one day. And I was stopped. And when I stopped and went home, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to actually seek help. And I remember going to the doctor, and we were just talking about different scenarios of how I can beat this. And he was saying, you have to do something you enjoy. Like, what do you enjoy more than anything? I'm like, well, talking sports. And my initial answer was my family. And he was like, no, that ain't it. What do you love more than anything? And I'm like, talking sports. He said, okay, we'll do something. So I remember I sat down with my little brother. I said, man, let's do a podcast. Before podcast was even popping back then.
Right.
This was like about 5 years ago. And so we started the podcast, and that landed me an internship with ESPN Upstate. And from ESPN Upstate, I had an opportunity to apply for a radio gig, but I was told I wasn't good enough. I'm not what they were looking for. Only because of my personality. I'm monotone all the time. Just a very informative guy. They want somebody loud, boisterous to, look like a clown on the radio, sound like a clown. That ain't my nature. And once I was rejected, I was like, you know what? I can do this myself. Everything they're doing, I can do myself. I just got to figure it out. I didn't go to school for journalism. I don't have no type of journalism background, but I was good in writing. I know what it takes. I know how to edit a paper. Once I figured out the game of how I can actually, I wouldn't say finesse, but just start a company and do everything they do. My small goal, I'm like, you know what? I want to start a company so I can run circles around that radio station.
Yeah.
That was my deal.
Yeah.
We eclipsed them in like half a year. So I'm like, okay, that competition is over. What do I need to do now?
Right.
So I figured out a way. I'm like, hey, if I start a company, I don't have a journalism degree, but I can hire some people with a journalism degree to work for me. I can hire somebody with mass communication to do this part of the company. Right. I can just oversee it because I'm so good at managing. I have a 15-year background in management.
Right.
So that's what I did. I just took my manager background, took my passion for sports, put together a team and put together a map. And there you have it. Sports and Culture was born.
That's crazy, man. Like I promise you, like I feel I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, yeah, that was me. I had an opportunity, like, when I was in, I got into school at VCU. and mass communications. And then God rest my mom, so she kind of scared me out of it. She was like, "You got to pay all that money back," and she just didn't want her baby boy to leave home. That's what it came down to, and I fell into it. But I now that I go back and look at it, and she did save me some money low key, because I could have been paying. Probably still would be paying VCU back. And she, even though she told me not to do it, social media came along, and I said to myself, like, I see people out here doing it, and probably around the 5-year mark, I saw people doing it. I had joined a podcast network called WBLZ. They were doing some pretty, decent things. And I looked at how they were kind of modeling it, and I said, well, I like some of the things they're doing, but there's some things I want to like add a twist to that I think will make it better. And it's same dream, like build a team and see where they go, try to help them, take it to the next level. And I've always told people, they was like, well, what does legacy maker mean? Legacy maker. We want to help build the legacies, help make your legacy, whatever it takes to get you there. If you don't stay with legacy and you get a job with ESPN or you get a job with Fox Sports, if I knew that I had any piece of helping you get to that point, by all means, and that was part of how I felt about it. And I know my partner in crime, Jeremiah Quimmer, that's our mindset when we first were trying to figure it out. Like we want to help people grow. And if it help us grow as a company as well, let's make it happen.
Man, and it's, I was just like, okay, I just want to cover local high schools. That's right. It. And then I lucked up and got approved to cover the SEC tournament. And that's why I met my right-hand man, which is like, he's the president of my Arkansas division, Porter Hayes. And we blew up from 1 or 2 articles so large in Arkansas, said, man, we can just cover Arkansas sports.
Right.
So it's like our following is a lot larger down there in Arkansas, and I'm based out of Greenville, South Carolina, all because we covered women's basketball team. And from that, I realized, man, women's basketball is an area that nobody touches.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy.
Nobody touches it. And we started covering girls basketball and women's basketball around the state and all the way up into the WNBA, and it just blew up, blew beyond my wildest imagination. So that's really the heart and soul of the company, women's sports. And we just branch out from there. Like, but it's the culture. I know you saying the legacy making. I love how you came up with your name. I came up with mine based off, I'm African American. We are the culture.
Right.
And our slogan is, introducing the media to the culture, because it's not a lot of us in that field.
That's right.
We big on sports, but we cover entertainment and all kind of other stuff. So I thought sports and culture would be a perfect name for it.
Look, man, like I told you before, being able to watch you over the last, that we've been friends on Facebook for about a year, and I don't even know how your name popped up on my timeline, but I remember seeing, I was like, okay, I popped in, I looked, I said, man, my man's got it going on. I said, that's what I'm talking about. And so, I mean, I try to tell people, when I invite people on the show or ask people to come on the show, it's people that I look up to in the industry, but someone that I love watching them grow because they're doing it the right way. And, and I try to invite people like that. I mean, there's a lot of people I could invite that are good people that I know, but I try to keep it in that range because I want to get that mass. I want people to know, even those people, maybe they get a chance to like pick our brains a little bit and see, well, like, man, that's what their strategy was, or that's how they got this. Maybe it'll help them grow, and maybe it's help them get better. And I mean, watching, like I said, just watching your everything, the digital magazine, I think that's absolutely great. I was like, nobody's doing that.
I hear it a lot.
I love it. I said, nobody's doing that. And I said, that's so brilliant, because you can go out there, people can go in there and peek at it. We know how the world is now with with technology. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing it. And I said, that's exactly how you do it. You got to find that niche that nobody else is doing, grow from there, and it's like, and then boom, anybody that does it after that, they copying Tyler Butler, baby. That's what that is, And I love it, man. So yeah, I love the work that you have put in down there, and I feel like I've seen, I love how you hone in on a lot of the South Carolina products that are down there. And I know the young man, and don't get me wrong, Charlotte Hornets. I'm gonna let you say names because I'm my mind.
Bryce
Right.
McGowan.
Yeah. So and he got with the Hornets, and I love the coverage that you've been breaking out on him. And I mean, just kind of give us an insight real quick on the South Carolina sports scene, because people probably don't really know a lot about the South Carolina sports scene, but kind of give us a little insight on what's going on down there in South Carolina, other than Myrtle Beach, of course.
No problem. We are extremely underrated as a state as far as sports, but look at the NBA landscape right now. Two of the hottest names in the NBA, John Morant and Zion Williams. They're from South Carolina. I know we never had a lot. There was, KG, Ray Allen, Jermaine O'Neal, and others who made it in the league. But right now in South Carolina sports, there's a lot of talent here, and our job is to make sure we showcase that. Like Bryce McGowan's recently drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, and I've mentioned it, but a lot of people don't know. The same draft, even though he didn't get drafted, his older brother Trey actually is playing for the Los Angeles Clippers as we speak.
Oh man,
in the summer league. Yeah,
that's awesome.
But that family is like a historically great basketball family. The mom was All-State. The dad was All-State. Have a little sister right now, goes to Ren. Her name is Raina. Raina is one of the best guards, definitely in South Carolina, if not the country. Just finished her tour on Steph Curry's AAU team. Great family, just full of talent. But South Carolina, man, there's a lot of Greenville High School, one of the best high school football teams. Wren High School. There's a ton of talent here. Does not showcase at the ability I think they should be. So our job is to make sure that we get on board with like the Texas and the New York and Illinois and California. I'm trying to get us there.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's when people think Virginia, they're usually the DMV area. It's either DMV or 757, which is that's the Michael Vicks, the Allen Iverson. So there is a pipeline of greatness down there in that corner part of Virginia. And I think I learned one thing in this industry when I first started. First event that we covered was the Atlantic 10 Media Day for basketball, and Andy Katz was there. And Andy Katz said to me, he said, well, I asked him, I said, Andy, what's the best way to go about this? We're new, we're up and coming, we're starting. And the biggest thing he said, and this is what I see a lot of what you're doing, he said, start local. He said, start local, then go big. He said, a lot of people make the mistake of going in there and trying to go big first and not growing that local fan base. He said, grow that local fan base, take that local fan base, let them know who you are. Then once you got that lock, it's just going to get better from there. And I've never looked away from that advice. And I see that, like I see that in what you do and down there in South Carolina. I'm like, perfect. Absolutely. And then Arkansas now. And see, that's something I didn't know to do. I didn't know that you had the Arkansas division, other than I saw that you had the big new sponsor the other day. And I said, okay. I said, that's what I'm talking about right there. But see, I used to travel down to Arkansas to do stuff for Walmart when I was doing commercials for Walmart. And I was always down in that area, and that's a pretty cool deal that you got Arkansas locked in too. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, shout out to the University of Arkansas. We pretty much have their whole school, and it all started with Coach Neighbors, the coach of the women's basketball team. And once again, Porter Hayes, president of my Arkansas division, is holding it down. But kind of to hone off what you were saying locally. That's sound advice, because I made that mistake. Like the goal was to do all high school here in the area, and then when the pandemic hit, we started, doing all these NBA and NFL teams. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, that's what I need to do.
Right.
The satisfaction coming out from covering these high schools. I told my wife, she thought I was crazy. I much rather any day of the week cover a high school game than an NFL game, because of the reaction you're going to get from the players, the coaches, and the fan base. It's a completely different feeling.
The energy is different.
Yeah, completely different. The gratitude. Like they are extremely happy you're there to showcase their child,
Right.
rather than a 28-year-old millionaire who's
They can think twice.
doesn't really,
They
yeah,
don't care about you. They don't care
they
about
care less. I never see that athlete again. But I cover this high school kid. I'll be able to talk to him anytime I want to.
you. Yep.
I see him out, nothing but love. I'm
Right.
not gonna get that from covering Eli Manning.
Right. And then people don't realize that relationship you build with those, especially if a
It's
kid
great.
goes far, they'll never forget you. They'll never forget all the love you showed.
Exactly.
And that's the key. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's
Exactly.
it's
I
right.
tell my people all the time when we do these interviews with these players, don't make them one interview. Do a follow-up. Build
Right.
that relationship, because you never know how far that relationship could take you.
Exactly. And that's 100% correct, because you really never know. Man, I'm excited to see what more South Carolina sports team got going on, man. I'm gonna definitely be peeking in. I'm always checking out your stuff and looking in and peeking. I'm like, yeah, Tyler, yeah.
Thank you, man.
Right. So I definitely will always be out there, just like kind of admiring from a distance, man. I definitely appreciate all that hard work and just being able to see you grow, man. It's I don't know why it brings such joy to my heart to see people grow like that, but it does. I'm just like, I love it. I love seeing it happen.
It's same here, man. Hey, I didn't, got stuff just from taking a look at you when you was throwing up those photos of at the time Redskins.
Right.
I call them Deadskins because I'm a Cowboy fan.
I was
Yeah, so when you was covering that team with those colors, I don't even want to mention them. I was like, man, his photography is great. I got to step my game up. So looking at you made me go out and go hire professional photographers so I can get access to better looking photos.
Hey, look, and this is another thing I learned. They said, learn it all.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I tried to do, from doing play-by-play at Richmond women's basketball games, from doing pictures at UVA and Washington. I've done some mystics here and there, but it was like, do it all, learn it all. I'm like, all right. So I try my best to learn it all, and that way you got a little bit of something all the way around. So that's always been my philosophy. I was like, if you can just learn it all, you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's like I said, that manager background, man. I just figured it out. I can't do this on my own, and the best managers are the ones that delegate. So I try to find somebody. If I can't do it, let me find somebody who knows how to do it.
Help somebody I can trust that can sit out there and make it happen.
Yeah, somebody I can trust that has the background and knows what they're doing, and just delegate, man, and watch yourself grow.
Awesome. All right. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get to my favorite segment of the show. It is time for Quick Ones. All right. So is everybody ready for the Tyler Butler edition of Quick Ones? Quick Ones, we make it simple. We'll give out a little bit of a small question here, Tyler, and then you'll get an opportunity to give us your feedback on that. Are you ready for the Tyler Butler version of Quick Ones?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First one, Tyler. Favorite sports moment?
I'll probably say Jordan's last championship. So I got to celebrate it with my granddad before he passed. So that'll always be my favorite sports moment.
That's it's funny. Mike said the same thing. We had Mike Patton on last week. He's a Bulls fan, and
that's what's up.
And he said the exact same thing. He was like, Jordan's 98. That 98 game against the Jazz was critical. He said when he shot it over Byron Russell, that was it for him. He's like, that was his moment. That's crazy. I love that.
That was my peak happiness.
Now I hate to go down on this one, but give me your worst sports moment.
Oh man,
a couple in there. I know. Believe me.
I'm gonna say Dez dropped it.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry,
man. I thought that was a championship caliber Dallas Cowboy team.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought they had everything, except for the defense was a little finicky, but offensively, I haven't seen a Cowboy elite offense like that in forever. And when they ruled that incomplete, like I was crushed. That and Derrick Rose injury, because I never forget that day either.
I will say this about the Dez situation. As a Packers fan, and I'm not just saying this because obviously we ended up winning the game or whatever, but I remember watching the game, and this is exactly what was my mindset. I said, ooh, that's okay. That's a touchdown, but You know, we got 4 minutes and we got Aaron Rodgers. That was the only thing. So when I started hearing them discussing, I'm like, what are they discussing here? And they went back and they showed it, and I'm like, I don't know, that's still a catch though. So I mean, they're not gonna overturn that. So even as a Packers fan, I was like, whoa, I cannot believe they overturned it. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, not take it, but I couldn't believe they overturned it. But you know, in the end, we end up getting our comeuppance the next week, in Seattle end up okey doking us, and that's a whole nother dream. But that's funny. Your worst moment worked to my worst moment. So it's
man,
just,
the emotions, because it was 4th and 1, and I'm like, give it to DeMarco. And when I saw Tony Romo drop back, I was like, what the hell is going on? And then when he called it, I went nuts, and they ruled it incomplete. I said, this I never said Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl again in my life.
I'm sorry, man. Like, hey, well, that's the way I'm starting to feel too. So don't feel bad. Green Bay doesn't. They can get in as many NFC championship games they want to. They just said, nah, we good, bro. All right, cool. Next one. Your favorite athlete growing up?
Oh, it's MJ. MJ without a question. It ain't even close.
Oh man. See, that's the thing. Like, I think early in my career started like, early in my life, I felt like I was my MJ fan. Well, I'm still always been an MJ fan. He's number one in my book. But you know, I think it kind of tailed in for me on the NBA front. Now, Alonzo Mourning was always my guy. I love Alonzo Mourning.
Hated Alonzo.
Virginia guy, man. Virginia guy. That's why I think that's why I fell in love with Alonzo Mourning.
Hated that whole Miami Heat team, man.
Man, come on, bro. Don't do us like that.
Bro, I'm talking about from Ronnie Cycli to Tim Hart. I hated all them dudes, man.
Hey,
they were tough. I was tough out.
PJ Brown, man.
Oh, PJ Brown.
But you do. But there is a Butler that you like that's on the Miami Heat now. I would say, right?
Oh, look, I call him my favorite cousin.
There you go. There you go. As long as we good on that, we good on that. Next one. Your most hated athlete growing up?
Elton Brand.
Really?
Elton Brand, without a doubt. Man, I never forget he was injured. And they was just gassing. Wait till Elton Brand come back. Wait, I'm like, this little fat dude, what he gonna do? Who is he? He came back and destroyed. I couldn't stand Elton Brand, but he was great. Then he got drafted by the Bulls, and I loved him. So I came full circle.
Couldn't stand him. It's like, all right, I guess
I couldn't stand. I hated Elton Brand.
I guess you're one of us. I guess we can go with that. All right, last one. I try to go with a fun one on the last one. Worst ice cream in the game?
Strawberry.
You said strawberry?
Yeah, I don't know how anybody eats that. Like, it just tastes like bus seats, man. It's just awful. Just take it out of the ice cream selection, man. I can't stand like the Neapolitan stuff, man. Like, and then it gets into the vanilla. I used to hate.
It ruins the whole. Like, I admit it's just me, but I guess it's not just me. You know what you hate when you have a birthday party and you see somebody pull out their bucket of nip? It's like, man,
I skip it every time because
as long as it doesn't have the real strawberries in it, I'm good. If it has real strawberries in it, it's trash. It's like, please don't give me this. I don't want no parts of it.
You know, and my favorite drink is strawberry lemonade. But if you put strawberries in it, like, I might fight you. I hate that. I can't stand it. Yeah, don't do that, man.
Oh, that's great. That is great. All right, everybody. That was the Tyler Butler edition of Quick Ones here on One-on-One. And before we get out of here, of course, we want Tyler to leave his legacy. All right, Tyler. Look, man, I got to say this right off the bat, man. I got to say, I truly appreciate you coming on, man, because you were one guy I had locked in my mind from the beginning. Like when I was setting up season 3, I said, I gotta have Tyler on, man. I hope he says yes. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on, brother.
Hey, man, thank you. So this was fun. And it makes me want to improve my interview skills. I realize I suck at this.
No, don't say that.
I gotta become a better interviewer. This is fun.
Look, man, all of my stuff, I mess up a lot. I ain't even gonna sit here and try to front. And most of me is just like my former TV personality just started popping up. That's about it. That's all that is.
I gotta step my game up, man. I don't even want to go back and look at my interviews.
No, don't do it, Tyler. Don't do it. Don't do it. But before we get out of here, my man, like I said, once again, I thank you on that. But before we go, any special projects you got going on that you want to let everybody know about? And of course, let us know where we can find you, bro.
Yeah, definitely follow us on Facebook, just Sports and Culture. Twitter is a big site for us. That's at My Sports Culture. We have coming up, I have my people, Deja is going to be at the SIAC Media Day in Atlanta, covering the HBCU. And then we're going to have more people at the ACC tournament. Christina and also Justin will be there covering that. So those are the two big projects we have coming up. First time getting approved for any one of those. So I'm extremely excited and happy for my guys.
That's awesome, man. I can't look. I'll be heading to ACC myself, me and Jay and one of our new up and comers, Justice Miller. So we're all going to be heading down to Charlotte. So we'll probably bump into him. We'll have to make sure we go by and say hi.
Yeah, take care of him for me, man.
Don't worry, I got you, brother. I ain't gonna let him go astray.
Appreciate it.
No problem, man. Like I said, once again, bro, truly appreciate you. Once again, everybody, if you don't get an opportunity, you got to go out here and you got to check out Sports and Culture Media. You got to check out Tyler Butler and the crew. They have done a phenomenal job, man. And if you want to see how you want to grow in this industry, go check out Tyler and watch the steps, man. Watch what this man has done to get himself to this point. Tyler, man, I promise you, bro, I'm just so glad you were able to come on. So glad.
Oh, my pleasure. This is great. Anytime, man, just let me know. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Now, next week, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 61, my man, another guy who's up and coming in this industry, my man, Freddie Henderson of All Sports, All Play, the owner and founder out there. So Freddie is coming on next week, man. I'm super excited. Freddie almost made me cry when he said he looked up to me. I said, Freddie, don't do that. Don't do that. I said, because I look up to you, brother. I love all the hard work that he has put in, and we get another chance to highlight my man, Freddie. We'll get to highlight him next week. Once again, everybody, I'm Darrell Owens. This is my man, Tyler Butler. This has been One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you all next week. Now, we're on same time, same channel, but we'll definitely change channel. It may not be the same time, but we'll definitely be on next week with our man, Freddie Henderson. Tyler, once again, thank you, brother. Truly appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody. Until next week. Peace.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the